Monday of championship week, I'm on pace to actually do 76 games. So actually shatter their 57.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Sideline Stories. Today, I'm here with Ben Chase, an NIL advocate and attorney, currently on the ultimate college football road trip. How are you doing today, Ben?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on. I'm sitting in a Panera here somewhere outside of Atlanta. Just got my van back and ready to finish out this crazy ride that I'm on.
Absolutely. We will definitely get into the details of that. But can you start by just quickly introducing yourself, a little bit about who you are, and a few details about the college football road trip that you're on?
Sure. Yeah. So a little bit about myself. I'm from Orlando. I'm an attorney who went to GW Law. I'm a Florida Gator. Go Gators. Just waiting to see on some other opportunities in the NIL space. I interviewed with a few different companies, and some of them are, we're waiting for funding and yada, yada, yada. So I circled the Monday of week 0 and said, if I don't hear about any of these opportunities or hear back about, new ones, I'm just going to do this trip. I made an outline at that point, it was 62 games. And I looked online to see if there was a record for road trips, specifically a road trip record. And I saw these two brothers did 50 in 2016. They actually ended up doing 57. I didn't know that until after I started the trip. But luckily, my outline had 62 on it. So I said, if they can do 50, I'm going to do 60, 62 maybe. And fast forward to today, it's Monday of championship week. I'm on pace to actually do 76 games. So actually shatter their 57. And I'm sitting here in Atlanta. Like I said, my van had a little issue, but we're ready to roll now.
Once you realized you were, going on this trip and you started to plan it out, and you wanted to get some Midwestern and West Coast schools on there just because you didn't want to just stay on the East Coast. Logistically, how did you start to really piece together? How did you make it happen? Because I know some of it's probably you go with the flow, unexpected things happen, whether it's the car breaking down or things like that. But there had to be some serious planning going on. So can you just talk a little bit about what went into that?
At the beginning of this, I basically just pulled up ESPN schedules for FCS, FBS, D1, D2, all the schools. And I said, what's the first game of the week? And can I get there from the last game of the week before, right? So like, during, starting in October, action is happening. So that means there's college football Tuesday, Wednesday, and there's a Thursday game and a Friday game and a Saturday game. So like, I basically just would look and see like, can I go from, I was trying to maximize the total number of games while also being like, well, is it realistic for me to get there in a drivable route, right? And, I've done 6, at the beginning, it wasn't like a lot of planning. It was just probably like a day where I just sat down at a coffee shop and looked at the outline. I got the 62, and then every week on Monday, because college football schedules aren't dropped until a week or 2 weeks before, 12 days or 6 days, that's when I'm really like trying to piece together, can I get somewhere else? Can I double on a Saturday, right? The way it works. If I physically do it, like if Google Maps says I can do it, I just go for it.
Mm-hmm. And we talked a little bit before the interview about some of the major news outlets you've been featured on. The SEC network, the Pac-12 network, ESPN, CBS Sports. Is that something that you honestly anticipated happening once you started the road trip? Or is that something that just kind of, as you went along in the journey and you realized kind of you were trying to break a record and you were trying to do something that hasn't been done before, the opportunities kind of started to pile up?
Yeah, it's funny. Actually, the first interview I had was a Zoom interview with SEC Network. And it was funny. So I announced this trip Saturday of week 0. So that was August 27th, I think. And Tuesday of week 1, so just Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, like 3 days later, I had a DM on Twitter from a producer at the SEC Network. And he said, hey, like, I saw your video. Would you like to come on our show on Friday? And I said, well, I've only been in one game. He goes, yeah, but it sounds like you're going to be okay. So like that was like out of nowhere. And when that happened, when I did that interview, which like was literally after only my second game of the trip, because Thursday was the first game of week 1. So Friday morning, I was already on via Zoom on the SC Network that was when it really hit me like, oh, I'm doing this. Like I made a video, I went to a game, and then I got a DM, and then I was on the show within a week. And I was like, oh, I have no choice. And then since then, it's kind of been like, all of the major features I've done, like in-game features, they all reach out to me because they've heard about me or they've seen me.
When you go on those shows and you do the interviews, no matter if it's a local or a more national network, what's been your central message about your road trip? What's something that you want anyone who's listening to walk away with when you're featured on a show?
Yeah, I think my thesis from the beginning of this is that nothing brings people together more than college sports, specifically college football, more than religion, more than politics. And I'm kind of like become this avatar, if you will, for this thesis. I've been to 57 games and I've only paid for 10 of them. And that's not because like, people are like slinging me tickets. I mean, some people have said, hey, I see you're going here. Would you like a ticket? But, I'll just go up to tailgates and say, hey, like, do you guys have an extra ticket? And, I'm wearing their team. I always wear a shirt and a hat of the home team. So like people are like, yeah, like here you go. And, I try the best I can. I actually try to interview at least one person at most games and just like ask them like, why, like, what's so special about your school? Like, why do you love it? Like what traditions, I've been to a D2, no, I've been to a JUCO championship game. I've been to D1, D2. I've been to, HBCUs. It's the story of all of what is this college sports. I used to work at Walt Disney World, and the college program there, ironically, I'm wearing this Disney like with the college thing right now. And they had the international program, and the students would be like, I don't understand like why college sports are so big. They're not professionals, like and this is kind of like shows that. And also it's one of those things where I'm kind of like living out my dream in the public eye. And I hope that I've had people message me saying like I'm their Forrest Gump or whatever. Like that's cool, and I just hope that this story kind of encourages people to just like stop saying I wish I could. I did like in fact like I looked up trying to do this last summer before I got my last job, and I actually was scared. I didn't think I had enough money. I didn't think I could do it. And then this kind of happened, and the timing, everything, and I said I'm just doing it. And like now I wish that I did it last summer, right? So like that's kind of what it is too. So those two main kind of theses are kind of what I would like people to take away from this. It's not even about me at this point. It's just about the story and love of college football and going after and chasing my last name, what you love.
I couldn't agree more. I think one of the things that I like about sports more than anything else, and there are many, many, many things I love about sports, but it's just this unity of bringing people together, bringing communities together. Why college sports and why college football specifically do you think brings more than professional sports and maybe more than other college sports? Like what is it about college football that you think really brings people together?
Yeah, so I say basketball is my favorite sport, college football is my favorite tradition, right? So like and why is that? It's because I've been to 57 games in 57 different stadiums. That's 57 cathedrals to me, right? That's 57 religions to me, right? And like it's different than, I mean, I love basketball, but very few schools tailgate basketball. Very few schools spend the night in RVs to go to games. I've seen Gonzaga, they sleep over outside of games, and when I went to UF, like you could sleep over for basketball, like to get in as a student. But like these college towns, Auburn, Alabama, Huntington, West Virginia, Pullman, Washington, they eat and breathe and survive off of the athletic programs. And one of my best friends is a 4th generation Auburn Tiger, and his sister's about to have a 5th generation Auburn Tiger. And like, it's because of the school, but also like the traditions. And when you go to a game, you see the band, and you see the cheerleaders, and you see people from every denomination and religion all there, with the same colors on. And it's not that like other sports don't have, like especially like college sports, but like college football is the ultimate not cesspool, but like diverse like religion that we have in our country.
And I think too it says something about, especially when you're looking at college athletics versus professional athletics, those small towns that don't have, there are states that don't have professional sports teams.
Yeah. Like
Alabama, Alabama,
I was just at the Iron Bowl.
What is that? Alabama versus Auburn?
Yeah. So I was at the Iron Bowl, which is Alabama, and then you're about to say Mississippi, and I was at the Egg Bowl on Thursday. That's Mississippi State. Like those are all the Bryant-Denny where the Alabama plays. That is a professional stadium in the center of Boondock, Alabama. Like Tuscaloosa's, like there's not a lot there, but like that place is sold out. and there's like, and around the stadium, there's still, tens of thousands of people because that's what they love. That's their livelihood. They
Mhm.
get their highs and lows are generated by the outcome of a game that 18 to 24-year-old kids play. It's crazy.
As we're wrapping up, is there anything else you would like to add? Any shout outs or where people can find you to follow along in the journey? I know you have a few more games planned, but then as well as after the games are over, kind of following up on your journey.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. If you love college football or love the story, you can follow me on Instagram or Twitter at Ben G Chase, G for Gator. But it's one of those things where, if the story doesn't compel you to follow me, I don't really care. But I just hope it's one of those things where you're like, all right, well, this guy kind of just went for it and it's working out for him. I'm not rich. I don't. A lot of this is on credit cards, but today, like, someone on the internet just randomly Venmo'd me like a lot of money, like more than I had ever asked for. Like, I'd never asked for money, and that's just because people like believe in the story. And one of the things I say is, like, tell people where you're gonna want to go and they're gonna get you there, or they're gonna help you get through there. But it has to be something that very clearly, like, you're genuinely in love with. And this story is what I'm in love with right now. And, like, helping student athletes, and part of the NIL piece is this is, I've been in suites with the whole basketball team at Georgia Tech, and I've hung out with the women's basketball team at Charlotte, and, like, I got to talk to these people as humans. So, like, hey, if you need help with NIL or if you need help with anything, like, I try to give back as much as I can on this trip, because I know that, like, like I said, I've gotten 47 free tickets, and so, like, that's very, I never planned that, right? So I'd say, like, just don't wait to, like, take that jump. Like I said, I looked at this last year and I got scared and I backed out, and, like, this year I have no regrets, right? Like, so, and I wish I could do more. So I think those are the lingering things for sure.
Absolutely. So Benji Chase, if you want to follow along the journey, but I appreciate your kind of words of wisdom as far as it's not just about following me. It's about having people look internally and think about, is there a dream or is something that they want to chase and they want to take that leap of faith for? You would strongly encourage that. So I think at this point, appreciate you taking the time today, Ben, and good luck on the rest of your journey. We'll certainly be following along. Appreciate all the insights, and we look forward to staying in touch with you.
Thanks, man. It's been fun, and I appreciate you guys. And I'm sure I'll check in later, and go Gators.